So we're here at Sandvik Coromant in the UK, and we've got an exciting part here. Can you tell us a little bit about the process, please?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got it's a sort of a blisk. It's a segment of a blisk. We've just done some machine of this. Originally we did it in Inconel, but today we're going to show it in some steel tools.
Okay, tell us about the first tool.
The first tool, we call it a 2P 370. This is our 4xD sort of high feed side milling tool. So it's got a unique sort of geometry, allows us to do normally up to 10% engagement, suitable for multiple materials, and it's got a chip divider, so even though it's 4xD, you still get a very good sort of swarf control from it.
So this tool's been developed to use with cam cycles, essentially?
That's correct, yeah. This is developed for the sort of the waveform, dynamic milling type, sort of high feed side milling cycles, that's correct.
And from a Sandvik perspective, what's making that tool different to maybe some of the competitions?
It's sort of got a conical core, so it's very strong. So it's got this chip breaker, and we've got a sort of a good geometry on it that enables it to be used on these sort of multi-materials.
And one of the famous Sandvik coatings?
And of course, one grades and coatings, yes.
And if we move on to the second tool?
The second tool we call a Plura HD, and it's a heavy duty. So it's a heavy duty tool. It's got a very unique sort of chip geometry. So even though it's got sort of 4 to 5 flutes depending on diameter, we can do up to 2 times the full slotting of that. So it's because of this unique sort of helix and unique sort of geometry of the flutes, enables to get the swarf out even though we're doing 2 times these slots.
Yeah, and it looks a very strong, rigid tool.
It is a very sort of strong, robust core. It's got, even though it's got that sort of, we can do full slotting, it's still got a very sort of big core diameter, so it enables a lot of core strength. And we use this for sort of full slotting, and we still use it in like a high feed side milling, but we can do up to sort of 70% engagement, 30% engagement, or even down to 10% engagement. So it's a really sort of universal, really
good all-rounder.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Okay, it's worth pointing out. Obviously, we've done this in steel rather than in canal today,
yeah,
so we can film.
Right.
So we can film it. Are these tools used in heat-resistant alloys also?
The tools we're showing today, the 2P 370 can be used in heat-resistant alloys. The Plura HD is really for steels and stainless steels. We do have unique HRSA titanium tools, but normally we don't normally do full slotting of those. We do on the Inco Bliss demo. We actually run originally. We use a cutter we call a VFD, and that was in Inconel, and that did 1 times the full slotting. So that we do still have full slotting tools with different.
Yeah, impressive.
Materials.
And if we move on to the next tool on the demo?
And the next tool is sort of a unique tool to us. It's called a Gannet tool. And the Gannet comes from the sort of the bird, the Gannet, sort of the plunge driving tool. And it's got a very unique geometry, and unlike sort of when people plunge with all the slot drills, it's actually got sort of a concave edge to it. So what happens is when you do sort of a 30% engagement material, you get a balanced cutting action. So the concave inside balances the radius on the outside, so the tool doesn't try and deflect at all. So
yeah, it's one of the more unique tools I've seen actually. It's a good idea. Plunge milling isn't done enough in the industry in my opinion.
Definitely.
And to have a dedicated tool kind of makes sense.
It is, yeah, it's a dedicated tool. We do it in both solid, carbide, and we do the exchangeable 316 heads. And they go from sort of the solids start from 6 diameter, and obviously the exchangeable heads start from 10 and go up to 25 diameter. So obviously the exchangeable heads you can put on lots of different extensions, and as solid tools you can get those in 4 to 6 times the standard. We do go up to 8 times the sort of tailor-made.
It's worth pointing out, say we're talking plunge milling, what types of materials would you recommend plunge milling in?
All materials really, to be honest. I mean, not normally aluminium, it's quite easy to machine, but normally steel, stainlesses, HRSA, any time you need a sort of over 4xD tool is normally when we say you sort of start to look towards plunge milling.
And it can be kinder on the machine, can't it? Just using the Z-axis.
Yeah, it can be very kind on the machine, and it can be a very productive way of removing vast amounts of material quickly. So,
And today's tool holders, they're all part of the Sandvik Coromant family?
All our tool holders, we all use in sort of the 930s, CoroChuck 930s. We use in sleeves. Some of our tools we call a CF sleeve. So when we don't have a tool with through coolant, we have a CF sleeve. It's got little grooves actually inside the collet, so you get a very targeted sort of coolant or air blast in this case today. So yeah.
And just finally, it's worth pointing out where we are today. We're here at Sandvik Coromant in your prove-out centre, so customers can bring in parts and you can apply them here.
Yeah, this is our sort of productive centre based in Hounslow, UK. So we have milling, turning machines here, and we do sort of customer trials or demos. We do sort of customer trainings here as well.
So for engineers watching this video and they want to find out more about the Sandvik Coromant or maybe some of the products on this demonstration, how do they find out more?
Yeah, I mean the best place to go is obviously the Sandvik Coromant website. There's loads of great information about all our tools. We also have sort of pages dedicated to processes, and they can actually sort of go in there and look at the machining processes of blisk. All of the tools we talked about today, they're all listed in there. You can sort of shortcut for turning, milling, solid round tools. There's loads of great information in there, and we also have a lot of training and application knowledge on there as well. So there's some really great information on there. It's a good place to visit to find out more information.